Down the road, have you thought about, or might you consider changing gears dramatically, maybe departing from the agenda and getting into the role of a more opinionated role, like we see with Piers Morgan on CNN or Rex Murphy?
So the question to Steve is, does he want to become Piers Morgan or Rex Murphy in the future?
Candidly, I am jealous of those guys who are able to put so much of their opinions into their questions. There are moments where I'm jealous, not often, but from time to time. But I don't see it happening. As long as I'm doing what I'm doing, it's certainly not going to happen. And I don't have a burning desire to do it. I don't think, boy, I have these thoughts running around in my head, and I so desperately need to inflict them on the viewing public. I just don't feel that way. I think I do what I do because I'm way more interested in what he thinks than in what I think. And it's one of the reasons why I have the job that I have, is because I don't really care what I think about stuff. I really am interested in what they think about stuff.
And is that it? Like getting the best out of your subject and finding out what they got there as opposed to your own opinion?
The funny thing about that interview, Joe, I remember this well. This was at Harborfront. It was an author's series, and I had a new book out called Paikin and the Premiers, in which I sort of wrote a chapter about my relationship with and understanding of and previous interviews with premiers going all the way back to Bill Davis. And I'd written a book on John Robarts, who was premier from 1961 to 71. So essentially, you got a half century of relationship with Ontario premiers there. And they kind of surprised me by having Bob Rae be the guy who was going to interview me. And so often during that interview, Bob Rae would ask me a question, and then I'd ask him a question back. Because as I say, I was more interested in what he had to say than what I had to say. And Mr. Rae would constantly say to me, no, that's not the way it's going to work tonight. You don't get to ask me anything. I ask you the questions. You have to answer them. And he probably had to say it 3 times during the course of the interview because I was more interested in what he thought about some of the things that had come up. So yeah, I'm in the job I'm in, and I'm working at the place I'm working at because I think it's just it's just a perfect reflection of what I'm interested in and the way in which I want to do journalism. And there's never going to be any danger of me wanting to be Tucker Carlson or Piers Morgan or Rex Murphy, because that's just not how I'm wired.
Yeah, and nor would we want you to be, honestly. Okay, so here's another example of you being interviewed. This